Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Kill Count. Today I will be looking at Pinocchio's Revenge, released in 1996. Pinocchio's Revenge is like a low-budget kind of movie. The plot is okay, but the acting could get a little messy. It's about this chick named Jennifer and her daughter Zoe. After this murder happens, Jennifer is left with this puppet from the crime. She ends up giving it to Zoe, and shit goes hard. But I still think it's okay. I guess it's not the greatest movie, but I think it surpassed my list. Okay, enough of that bullshit. Let's get to the kills. The movie begins with this cop driving somewhere. He ends up bumping into this other car, then it cuts to this guy doing some sketchy shit, and he has this dead boy. The officer goes to scope it out. While he does that, the guy puts the kid in the hole and starts to cover it up until the cop finds his ass and tells him to drop the shovel.
I said drop the fucking shovel!
Then he slowly turns around. It cuts to all these cops back at the crime scene. They start digging it up more, and they see a toy hand. It's Pinocchio, my guy. It cuts to present day, where this newsletter talks about the killer.
With his new execution date less than a week away, his attorney has filed for a commuted sentence with the State Court of Appeals.
Now we're in the courthouse, where Jennifer is trying to fight for this fucker later that night. She looks at all these fucked up photos of dead people, until her daughter Zoe comes in. She goes to tuck her in. The next day rolls around, and Jennifer goes to her office, where she gets a little surprise from Pinocchio. Then this big motherfucker comes in to talk to her, and he tells her about the doll. It cuts to Zoe at school, and this ugly ass teacher pulls a Karen, and this bitch talks like a robot.
Yeah, sort of.
Zoe roasts her bitch ass after that. Then it cuts to Jennifer talking to the killer, Arca, her client, where he finally fesses up.
I killed my son. Even if I were free, my life would be meaningless.
But this bitch is still trying to save his ass. Then he hangs up the phone. He goes to walk away. Then motherfucker starts missing out. Now back to Zoe. She starts giving out her invitations for her birthday. Then that gross little shit Baith takes her shit and drops them in the mud. This makes Zoe fucking push her ass over and start going in, but Baith ends up pushing her ass back. She runs all the way to the car, and this counselor starts asking Zoe shit. Later that night, Jennifer Barley just now gets a call about what Zoe did, so she goes to ask her about it. Then she even avoids talking to her dad, and Jennifer fucking grounds her for that. This girl named Sophie goes to talk to her. She's there made her some shit. The next day, Jennifer's in court again, where her ass loses, so my bro is gonna get the electric chair. Later that night, they get ready to kill him. He sits down in the chair, and they lock him in. Then they put this thing over his face, finally starting the exaction. This kill is done very well. Know what their budget is. Then it cuts to Jennifer at this church, and she talks to this priest.
Actually, technically speaking, I'm not even a Catholic anymore. I was divorced last year.
Even has coffee with him. After that, Jennifer dogs down Pinocchio until that same tucking guy shows back up. After that, Jennifer drives home, where her acting doesn't hold this one up.
Ow! Oh, damn. Another nail gone.
Then she makes home just in time for her little shit's birthday. She's all fucking stressed out, so her boyfriend David says he'll get all her shit.
I can get it. I will get it.
Later she comes out to join the party. Zoe goes to tell her how fucking great her day is, but do we give a fuck? Then she goes up to Pinocchio, because Jennifer's dumbass really gave it to her. Then she dogs him down again. The party finally ends, and Zoe can't find Pinocchio.
Has anyone seen Pinocchio?
But that mother tucker David has him. Some dumb jokes later, Jennifer tells that maid she don't got to do those dishes. She goes to snuggle up with David. Pinocchio likes that shit. He fucking scares the life out of them, but it's just Zoe being a dick. Jennifer goes to tuck her in again. Then she immediately gets all freaky with David again, bro, and they actually start getting it on. What the fuck? Little Zoe just hears that shit, so she goes to give Pinocchio a hug. The next day, Sophie takes a shower. When she gets out, she gets a little surprise from Pinocchio, but Zoe says to not fuck with her toy.
What are you doing with my Pinocchio?
What are you doing in my room?
Later, Zoe goes to that bullshit-ass counselor, and she says David might take her mum away. That's fucked up, boy. Jennifer comes home to Zoe's bitch ass, and she goes to get after her ass for doing something bad again. Jennifer says she's gonna have to take back Pinocchio soon because he's a crime thing, and fucking replaces it with this shit. But she don't want it. Then she gets ready to go to sleep, and puts Pinocchio in the bed. The next day, Zoe goes to school, and Jennifer asks where is Pinocchio. Then Jennifer sees something in the corner of her eye. She pulls out that doll she gave Zoe. Back at school, Faith fucking takes off running with Pinocchio. She chucks that bitch over the fence. Zoe goes to look for his ass, and Bros planning something. Faith rides her bike until Pinocchio stops her with that thing. She literally almost gets hit by the bus. Man, Zoe just dips out. Jennifer picks her ass up and brings up what just happened, but Zoe just says Pinocchio did it. The next day, Jennifer talks to this guy about the killer and shows her some disturbing shit.
Here, take a listen.
She goes to collect herself. Meanwhile, David is hanging out with Zoe. She goes in her room when we finally hear this little fuck talk.
Because they'll take me away from you, then I'll never get to be a real boy and be your brother.
He says he doesn't like David, but Zoe is not up for that. It literally just cuts to Zoe sleeping. She wakes up and goes out and sees the door shut, but David stops her before she does anything. He says he's gonna check it out. He walks his ass down there and the lights cut off, so he runs his ass back up there. Then the door slams in his face and he passes out. Jennifer goes to the hospital to see what happened. She really seemed like she don't care.
Looks like your friend took a nasty tumble down the basement steps.
Is he okay?
It cuts to Pinocchio talking to Zoe. She asks if he hurt David. He says no, but Zoe knows he's lying, and now he's saying he don't like Sophie. It cuts to morning time. Sophie goes to talk to Zoe. All she does is show her fucking crickets. After that, she goes to talk to that bitch's counselor again, and he brings up the accident with David. He goes to leave for a minute. She gets all fucking pissed at Pinocchio, and we finally see his mouth move.
What do you mean?
You know.
No, I don't. You're the one who slammed the door in his face.
Are you sure?
Then she starts tweaking out, and he just sees this shit go down. He calls up Jennifer. This just makes Zoe even more pissed. Pinocchio tries to say he will take the blame, and Zoe really believes his ass. She actually starts cutting this boy's strings. He gets up and starts emoting, then Pinocchio just runs out of that bitch. Zoe runs outside to go see where he went. She sees his little ass bolting it. Zoe runs in the middle of the street and almost gets her ass ran over. Somehow Pinocchio manages to sneak up in this hospital. He goes into David's room and fucking pulls the plug, like what the fuck Pinocchio, and he slowly starts dying. Jennifer gets a call in the middle of the night. They tell her about David and she starts fake crying. Then she goes to see Mackie looking ass, where they go over that tape of Zoe. It looks like Pinocchio wasn't talking at all. The counselor thinks there's something wrong with Zoe, and this just makes her get even more pissed off. Jennifer returns back home. She goes to wake up Zoe to get all mad at her again. Zoe starts fucking crying and shit and says she thinks Pinocchio killed David. Jennifer don't believe her, so she takes Pinocchio and puts him in her trunk. Later that night, Pinocchio sneaks his ass back in the house. Jennifer sees him, but what the fuck, it's Zoe. With a knife, she takes it away and talks to her. The next morning, Jennifer gets ready for work, but then she goes to talk to that priest. Zoe goes to get some juice from Sophie.
Can I have some juice?
Sure.
She tells her that Pinocchio's gonna hurt her mummy. Zoe runs to her room, where she finds her DA'd cricket. Sophie goes to see what's wrong, then she gets fucking whacked by Pinocchio. Jennifer gets back way late at night. She sees that the vacuum is still on. She walks around for a bit, then she stumbles over Sophie's body. And Zoe just shows up out of nowhere. Then she also gets whacked in the head. Zoe says they have to get out of there. Then she just fucking disappears, and she sees Pinocchio's ass come alive. He chases after her. She escapes to her room, and Pinocchio starts pulling some Chucky shit, getting her clean in the hand. She hears Zoe screaming for help.
Zoe, run! Get out of the house!
Pinocchio knocks her bitch ass back, then he fucking jumps on her back. But she gets out of there, then Pinocchio does the same shit. She fucking chucks his ass through the table, where it looks like it was Zoe. This just makes Jennifer pass out. And it turns out they put Zoe in this fucking mental place. The movie ends with Jennifer hugging Zoe. I counted 6 deaths in this movie, 3 guys and 3 girls. Thanks so much for watching the new kill count. Sorry it took so long, I've been working on other stuff. But we're gonna try to be as consistent as possible. We're so close to 20,000 subs. So please subscribe, stay muted.
On the next kill count.
You just did the best thing you can do. You just did the best thing you can do.